Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Relentless recap. As you guys are tuning in, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you're a new viewer, consider subscribing to the channel. Guys, your fearless leader, relentless trader is in the red today. How did it happen on such a fine market day? How did it happen, guys? So, today is going to be an extensive video on archives. I don't usually show a ton of archives, but today I think it's definitely necessary as I had my single biggest loss in a day or on any one trade ever for my entire career. And so, how did this happen with my current level of risk management? We'll talk about things that I could have done better, things that I could maybe um, adjust. We'll also talk about how I reacted, and we're going to also talk about how things could have played out differently if the circumstances were slightly, different. Because as we know, there's a very fine line between being green and being red in the markets. So here we go. We'll mute the audio and we'll get right into business. So for context, we traded a couple stocks today, primarily stock DWAC and stock GFAI. These are the top two stocks we're going to focus on. The other two, not much else really going on there. So let's start off with stock DWAC. So this one here, as you guys know, a while back, former President Trump was banned from Twitter. And so, him and other people, investors, ended up opening up their own company for social media reasons, right? And freedom of speech stuff like that. And so this is what this essentially is, DWAC. And back in the day, this stock ended up going from 9 all the way to 175 in just 2 days. So today it's curling back up again. And so, it's a stock that we've traded in the past. And so for those reasons, we have it on our radar, right? It's hitting the scans earlier this morning and we checked it out and we said, hey, you know what? This is something that we could potentially trade. Now, I didn't have it on my watch list initially because it was a little lower on the scans, but as it started to push up, we got involved. So we started off from a low of 16 and pushed up nicely, ended up having a flat top right here, and then eventually a flat top breakout. And I'm very surprised that this held up because look at this, right? How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 8th time was the charm. Usually after the third, fourth time, we're going down and we're going down hard. A big drop off like this, which, ironically, is the type of drop I got caught in today. So, this thing pushes up nicely. It gives a beautiful pullback here. Throughout this range, I'm trading GFAI, so I missed a lot of the moves. But once we start to get this pullback and consolidation, I'm going to come over here, and as this green candle is continuing higher, this is where I'm going to get a couple of trades. And we really dominated on this pullback here, buying low, selling high. So let's take a look at that. Actually, no, let's look at GFAI now, and also let's see how the time is relevant, right? So this is at 10:06 a.m. All right, so now GFAI. Let's quickly break down this one and then we'll jump into the archive. So this stock was in play yesterday. Yesterday we were small green on it, about 180. I ended the live stream yesterday up about 300 something bucks. Came back, saw this stock in the very later part of the move over here around, I believe, 12, or it might have been even around 2 p.m. It's kind of hard to remember, but yeah, got some trades in, added a small amount to our day, and today, lo and behold, it's back up again. So again, for those reasons, we're watching at this stock. Starts off a little tricky. We do get the 1-minute candle to make the new high. I did attempt trades here, did not get to capitalize. So from a move 763, it moved up all the way to 790, really good. Pulled back, but pulled back hard. Big drop off. So right here is where we want to see a nice consolidation, or at the very least, can we consolidate, back into these previous highs right here. See some candles hold up like that, and then maybe eventually a new high, right? Something like this. Not quite, sold off hard. So we zoom out here and we'll see that this thing you know, took its time and then curled back up. So we got up around VWAP, not quite. Finally started to push up here with a bit of a 3-bar play around 58. And from here is where it really started taking off. So I started getting involved. And between, I believe, 58 and about 10:04, I get myself up to about let's say 600 bucks. I was red 200 from this big drop off. So it's a good turnaround to this point, right? So let's jump into the archives. And I wonder if I might need to. Okay, I think we're good. So we're going to jump into the archives and we're going to take a look. So DWAC, as mentioned, a little tricky up until it broke out of this area and continued. So we're down about 283 and we're down about 175 on GFAI. So I believe I was down, close to like 600 really to start the day here today. Close to 600. We were red to start the day. So it's going to be a great recovery incoming. So even again, DWAC, right? Attempting hive day, us getting along for that potential breakout, and not quite seeing the follow through we'd want. So we're in at 35 right here. It gets up to 59, but it's not quite the move, and so we're back out. It flushes back down right there, trying to keep it as tight as possible, but taking some losses. So at this point, we're down 600 exactly. And this is where things are about to begin. So GFAI, right hand side of the screen. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit. So it attempts a move, it fails, but in the meantime, DWAC starts to push again. So we size down, right? Because we're down 600 bucks. We're like, hey, RT, let's size down. Let's make sure we don't get into too deep of a hole right here. All right. So let's bring it back. Oh, we're gonna capture a nice trade here. So we're in at 31 and we're watching for that breakout here. So I'm taking some profits. I'm gonna look to get back in. Can we continue for a push through 21? Waiting patiently. I'm gonna jump in right here around 50 and I'm still gonna try and give this thing a chance here. So there's 60 on the ask. Not quite. Waiting to see. Can we continue to hold? If it continues to hold up, I want to get back in and try and give it a chance. But I want to be in and wanting to see us pulling away from the level. So there we go. There's a nice 20-cent trade, right? 200 bucks. So how are we going to continue here in this area? So some small trades there got us back to flat, right? Some small trades. We had some losses too, so it's a little choppy. We finally get halted up, and I think this is where GFAI starts to finally, take off. So as mentioned, there's a 3-bar play and this thing started to go. So we're watching DWAC, and sometimes this is part of trading, is that there's multiple stocks moving at the same time. And there are going to be days where you cannot trade both of them, right? So luckily this one got halted, as the other one started to move. If not, maybe I'm just watching this one and missing the other one, right? So at this point, we're down 282, we're down 116 on this one, but we're looking to capture some trades here. Hold on, let's look at that again. So we're in at 2213. And then we end up getting halted up around 59. And then again, so this is where that 3-bar play is kind of taking place as DWAC is getting halted. So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit for time. So let's see, did I take the candle to make the new high, which was over 68.70? Some trades I did not take on this stock. I wouldn't say hesitating, but more so caution in some areas. So I'm in here watching for that volume. There's 70, not quite the push I want to see, not fast enough. So I'm back out just for a couple cents, but we do end up going. And so throughout the live stream, I did mention this a couple of times, that the stock was not moving in some of the areas as fast as I would like. But yeah, still couple cents. We got ourselves back to flat, and then it's going to start to take off over here. And I think this is one of the better trades of the day that I missed. So notice I'd size down, and as the stock is starting to push up here towards high of day, I get myself back up to 1,500 shares, and now I'm really and truly watching to see how aggressive this thing wants to be. So I'm in at 90 here, trying to see, how aggressive are we going to be to test these sellers. We got a few sellers there at 95. So quick scalp trades. And I believe this is where I'm going to miss my first big position. So it gets up to the sellers. It might have been later here. I can't remember if it was here or break of 9. It might have been here. It gets up to the sellers, and I don't like how it's reacting. Like we're coming in there. There's not a lot of buying on the ask. So I'm like, okay, let's be patient and let's give it time. So right here is where I'm going to miss this trade. So watch this. Man, and me hesitating in this particular area has to do with how we reacted the first time I'm buying around 95. So you see, we get to 95, it's back at 88 almost instantly in the spread. So once that green piles in right there, I didn't trust it. I thought maybe we'd break by 1 or 2 cents, hit 98, and then back to like 90 on the bids. But it was more buying than I thought. And instead of jumping in right here, 97 for that rip through 8, I'm going to miss this entire trade. This was the biggest missed opportunity, I think, of the day. Even if I had bought late right here, I'd have still got the fill, either 97 or $8. And it's an instant, if you're in 95, it's an instant 20 cents to 16 on the bids. And then on the ask, of course, 25 cents. So that would have been a nice $500 trade, which we missed out on. But it dips, it holds up here. This is an aggressive entry. And I'm going to say, you know what? I already missed the first trade. Let's get active. It's time. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to watch for the next push over 20. It's pretty quick. We get ourselves up $600 here. And that's pretty good, right? So the stock is now starting. There's a stock that's halted up. So this is how my mindset then shifts. And it's why I'm now back at 2,500 shares versus just 500 shares. And then I think even 1,000 shares on this stock. So we're back up to 1,000 on DWAC, back to 2,500 on GFAI. Things are looking good. And so we get a pullback here. We start to get a red candle. But I'm not aggressive here because, I want to let the stock price in the low, right? Sometimes I'm more aggressive than others. In fact, I think I tried here. Yeah, I actually tried. I tried here for 22 for the lows, but it ended up coming down to 16. So I bought a little too high, and something that I also didn't do that I'm usually trying to stick to is to reduce my share size a little bit for the pullback trades. For this reason is that you just don't know where the lows are going to be, and we can continue to drop. It's best to let that low price in, then get a little bit more aggressive once there's more of a determined risk. So even here, once we had that low, I think I should have been back in. But because I had the losing trades, I already had like 2 losing trades coming down, from up about 680 to up 400. I became a little bit more reluctant. Like, are we really good here? And it's more so like my mental capital being spent on the way down now that we've actually priced in the low, being a little too cautious. So I needed to be a little bit more patient there. It's a small thing sometimes, or else I'm in here, let's say 17, and I'm looking to give this thing a chance with a stop in place, right? So right here, watching to see if it does want to start to push, looking for scalp trades, not really looking to hold here. But let's fast forward. So the resumption happens. I'm watching GFAI. Because of this, I don't trade the resumption. I don't get to see how it plays out. But it does curl up eventually. And so we attempt 50 again. And this is a part of my rule, right? So we've just hit 50 on GFAI. I always take the second pullback here. Our low is at 16. And as the stock is coming down right in this moment, I had a 2 thought process in this split second here between like 21 and 24. I said, RT, You can either wait exactly for like a test of 16, a test of strength is what I usually would call that, or if it breaks down to reclaim, because I like to take the support on the lower side. And the other side was, you know what? Hey, jump in here. There's three things that can happen every time we come to support. The stock can either hold high, it can come exactly to the price, or it can come below, right? And this is under the circumstance that the stock is going to work. It can come below and then curl back up. The other circumstance for a failing stock at support is it comes down gradually, it flushes down, or there's like a big drop down, like a something catastrophic. So I am going to choose the other side. If I decided in that split second to wait for the test of 16, I would have avoided this loss. So this loss for me is literally a 50-50 trade here. So watch this. I'm going to buy and look at how quickly this stock comes down. I'm long, and see here I'm buying into red, which is also something that I don't typically do. But again, I'm thinking, hey, if I'm in at 1920, I'll risk to 16, or even if it drops down fast, like 810, okay, I'll take a bit of a bigger loss, but it wouldn't be a big deal if we lose 10 cents. Well, I don't plan on losing more than 5 cents here. My stop is 15, 16 in this type of trade. So I'm in, and look at that. Before I could even blink, the stock is down at 750. And I'm down 1,700 unrealized. I mean, just absolutely brutal. And again, this is a trade that I take every time, regardless of the double top. Our 5 minute candle at the time was looking pretty healthy, and we can, I don't know, maybe we can check on this on the live stream, but I believe the 5 minute candle was looking pretty healthy, because this is also one of my indicators to be able to ask myself if I want to get back in. So let's take a look at this. So at the time of this drop, look at how aggressive our 5 minute candle was. You know, almost a full body candle. We closed just about at 20. The new candle is opening. Sometimes when the new candle opens, you do have to be careful of a 5 minute pullback. But as mentioned, I didn't expect to see it drop more than like 10, even 15 cents today to the whole dollar. Would have been a little tough, but just could not see 750 coming. And there's a chance here. So let's talk about what could have happened differently in terms of in my favor and or against me. And this is not to like, for me to like say make believe or fantasy or any nonsense like that. Just a matter of circumstances, right? I could have chose the other thought process and waited. And I think it's possible that I would have bought into the weakness and had gotten a lower fill accidentally down here, um, trying to buy for like 15 area. That is possible, although I'm not too sure. That's something that could have happened. Um, or the other side of it is just that I could have avoided the loss, right? So this is where things now kind of takes a turn for the worse, because when I see this, and this again, this was a really good looking stock consolidating on a flag that just did that. So it makes me wonder, are we going to see weakness elsewhere? Is this an isolated incident, or is it something more, right? Or is it something less rather? So on DWAC, I immediately feel to myself, I cannot use full size here. Like there's no way I can use full size now. I just have to be more careful and be appropriate in how I want to take on the risk. Be responsible. So I'm down 122. I do a really good job here. Like this is my facial expression throughout the move. For those of you who will want to see, I do a splendid job. I mean, and guys, this is for those of you in MMU especially. This is how it's supposed to be when it comes to just smiling, taking a loss, smiling, moving forward. It's not personal. It's not personal. It never was. It never will be. This is how you take a loss and just move on. I'm down $260 today. I could have easily averaged down. I could have easily said, no, I'm not going to leave this day until, I'm green. but it's just not personal. And I always want to be professional, be smart, and understand that I want to trade when the momentum is in my favor, right? So even, responding by your sizing down, like that's how you manage risk and preserve your account in the long run, right? So the loss happens here. So I'm a little bit more serious in my expression as I'm just, fully locked in. I'm in. Oh, oh, the audio's on. Sorry about that. Actually, yeah, the audio's on, so we can mute that. But yeah, we take the loss, and immediately I kind of catch myself. So in that moment right there, when my body language goes from like leaning on the desk, because I'm leaning on my desk right here, kind of just like, oh man, I got caught. Wow, that sucks. But then in the moment, I look back up because I'm looking up at my other charts here, and I realize, oh no, there's a stock that's in play. There's a stock that's moving. Look at what's hitting the scan. DWAC. And it's like, you know, when it comes to the fine line of day trading, here's another like circumstance for how the day could have played out, right? Let's say GFAI naturally, you know, I avoid this drop and it naturally started pulling back a little bit more to where it was looking like a 5 minute setup. And I say, okay, I can ease off. That's where I can usually ease off and take a break. Let's say that had happened in that moment, or maybe even the stock had went up and got halted up. Any sort of circumstance that would have been different from the outcome that could have allowed me to also have my attention go over to the other stock. Because let me show you guys, once that drop was kind of happening, and of course it's part of opportunity cost. You trade one stock, you're missing the other one. But let me show you guys as that drop was happening, right? So look at the timing here, right? As this is flagging, look at what's also flagging. So we have the resumption, and we have two bottoming wick with essentially a double bottom at a low of like 21 and a low of maybe like 20 on DWAC. So, it's like if you're paying attention here on this particular stock, if you're watching this stock at this time, if you're not in on the double bottom, okay, the 1 minute candle to make the new high. So between 22 and 22.27, let's go back 10 seconds. I mean, sometimes this is the difference in the day. If I'm trading, if I look away to trade this stock instead, and I'm at 1,000 shares, there's the entry. Are we gonna hold above 22? It's holding. I can add, or I can get back in if I had sold, and it's up $1 a share. I mean, the fine line, man, the fine line. Let's look at that one more time. So 22.27 for break of the 1 minute candle to make the new high. Here's some green about to hit the tape. Here we go. Green hitting the tape. 98 by 10. There's 10 by 17. More green. I would have been long right here from watching at this stock. And now can we push through the level of 22? There's 50. I think I would have took profits at 50 right there. Now, once we hold above 22 in this area, you see how 32, 43 flashing on the bids, no selling is coming? I'd have been back in. I'd have been long. And where can we go? Boom. I'd have been out between 17 and 35,000 shares. Let's say I got long at 23.05, came out at like 23, 30, 35. I'm not going to estimate it high. I'm going to give myself lower fills, poor fills. That would have been a nice 30-cent trade, $300. From an entry of, let's say, 45 or 50. Let's say 50, high side, 50. In that range of 32 and like 50, let's say I'm in at 50. If I'm in at 50 and I'm selling here and I get the worst fill on the bids, that is a 60-cent trade essentially. 60, 65-cent trade. And there's 650. Now instead of being red 122, I'm already up like 900. And that's if I didn't increase size here to get back in for a break now, because it's now it's the same sequence. Can we hold this area of 23 and can we continue? There's 88. Can we hold? It seems like it might be holding. 73. Can we hold? Can we see the push through? If I'm in between 80 and 23, I could see myself stopping out. But if we see green on the tape, and there's some green on the tape, Can I get back in with the fill here? 10, 15. Look at that instant. If I'm late, I'd have gotten filled high. But if I'm to be back in between 10 and 15, let's say 1,500 shares, 2K shares, then I'm now up just like that with that trade. I'm now up, 1,900 on the stock. I mean, it's just so, when I watch this back, it's like, oh my gosh, like, mm, you know. So I had the loss, and if we pull back up the other video, you guys saw my body language is, oh no, like I'm kind of missing trades here. So my mouse cursor comes over. I'm like, okay, I have to size down because I'm already so red. And this is where I then start to take some small trades. So I didn't want to jump the gun because I understand we're extended here. I missed the low, I've missed the high. Now we're much more extended. I gotta wait and then see what we get. So great control to not just blindly jump in. You know, the captain here going down with the ship on this trade, but also reacting well and trading smart. So I'm in for a couple of trades here. In at 24, 23, coming out between 44 and 55. And I'm out a little early there as we extend. And are we going to get into that halt level? It looks like we will. So you guys will see I'm missing out on some trade here, getting out a little too soon. And the halt level gets extended. So if we fast forward, I'm patient. And the low there is at 51. I'm going to take the long at 82. I could have gotten a much better fill, but I've already accepted the risk here. My risk was 30 cents. The low of this candle was 51. I'm in at 82. My risk is 30 cents, which is 150. But again, sometimes at support we hold high, we come to the exact price. Sometimes it goes lower and curl back up. But I felt good. I felt confident about the area to get in. But if I did wait, I could have gotten in between 55 and 71. If I get the midpoint filled like 62, 63, then it's a much better entry. My risk is tighter. But okay, no big deal. I think actually, did I re-average? I might have re-averaged. Yeah, I did. So I'm gonna cut it into spreads. I'm gonna take like an 18-cent loss. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna get back in. So there's my entry. Tried between 55 and 60, a little slow, but I got a fair fill. Actually, hold on. Let's see. Was that a miracle fill? Hold on. Let me watch it again to see where I hit the buy button. Yeah, it seems like I don't know. This is interesting. This is actually a great fill. The moment it was changing to update, I hit the buy button and I somehow got a great fill. Because I would have thought I would have gotten filled like 63 right there. But anyhow, 55, 63 was the difference, right? But anyhow, I re-average and I'm just gonna wait patiently to see how this thing does, right? So as it pushes through, let's see. So I'm gonna come here as it pushes through like 30, 40. I'm taking profits just a little bit, but I want to hold the position to see if this 1 minute candle here can end up making a new high, which is similar to what we just had down here. Slight higher low, and then boom, slight higher low, and then can this candle here or the next candle go straight up? So this is why I'm saying, this area here, man, sometimes, you just get caught in the wrong place, wrong time. But when you think back about what you can do differently, that's just what it is. You have to close the case. Hey, case closed. I traded a setup I would usually trade. It didn't work. It's not a matter of, oh man, I must reassess all my risk management. I must try and do this. I must, like, that's not, that's unnecessary. This is gonna happen to me again, but it's few and far apart, because of how I manage risk. So the next time it happens, I welcome it, and I'm gonna also react well again. But in between then and now, there's gonna be a ton of great trades, right? And that's what makes us profitable. So, whenever something happens that's kind of out of your control, as long as you're being disciplined and you're trading the proper setups, you just have to close the case as a bit of you know, a flush or whatever it might be, and then you move on. So we're in at 55, right here, for a little bit there, we're up essentially $1 a share. And you can see for me in some of the areas, as I'm looking to take off a little bit more off the table, right? There's 45 by 61. I'm gonna go look to go sell a little bit right here. Look at how quickly the spreads are coming down, right? So you definitely got to be careful. So we're locking in a little bit more. We got 200 shares left on the table. There was a quick chance to add it to 24 right here for curl back up, but it was a little tricky. I didn't take it. Ended up being patient. I think it's gonna bounce one more time, and then it's gonna come down. So okay, yeah, okay, and I did try to add it, but I'm a little late. It holds 24 so well. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I gotta add here. But there's red printing, and you know what? After that loss, and look at this. This is the perfect time to buy here. The spread is tight. After that loss, I became very hesitant towards some of the trades at the lows. So I sold all right there as it held up nicely. I'm like, yo, I need to be in, but it's already a little too late. And I'm in at 26. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut it. If I'm in it if I'm in lower, I'd give it more of a chance, but it's gonna eventually come back down. So it wouldn't have been a great trade. But yeah, so we recovered there, and then look over here, what's going on. The stock that just flushed me out on a big loss is back at the high of day. So this is where we're gonna end the recap. I tried some trades here. We had some small losses, and then as this thing went, we made some money. So break of 80, it gets over 80 right here, and I'm like, okay, can we start to hold above the level? There's 71. It's not gonna flush. I'm waiting to see if it flush. It's gonna flush. It's not. So I'm gonna take the trade, and I'm gonna watch for the curl back up over 80. I'm gonna take the 10 cents, and then I'm gonna start to get active here with the scalps. So I'm selling right up above 80. It pushes up quickly here to 90, and at this moment I realize this thing means business. So I'm back in at 90. There's the break over the whole dollar. I'm taking profits. Can we hold up above the whole dollar now? It seems like it is, so I'm back in. But in this area here, I need to see an instant move. It's not as instant, so I'm back out. But it's a little choppy, so we kind of churn right here. And then if we skip ahead, let's see. So we're down 400 at this point. It continues. We get some small trades. So we brought the almost $1,000 loss back to 340. So at this point, we've made 700 off those lows, you know. So it's like, let's say we avoid that loss. We're probably up like at this point like 1,600 on the stock and another 400 over here. And, okay, if we do proceed to give back like we did, we're still ending the day up like 12, 1,300, maybe 12, 1,100 at worst. So that's the fine line, right? This is a recap to let you guys know that day trading is of course risky, but in the moment you got to do what's best. You got to always stay sound. You got to always be a professional about it. And, a lot of this too is also to show the potential. Like, and more times than not, I'll be on the other side versus this, today's results. So next week, expect some nice days, right? And, let's see how it goes. Can days like this happen again? Of course. But they're not going to happen most of the times. Most of the times, we're going to be connecting really well. So your fearless leader went down with the ship, and he managed his risk well, took the loss, cut it when it made sense. But from there, composure was key, and as a result, we have a very small red day, 260, one scratch trade, baby. So catch you guys later. Stay safe, stay green. Long recap to study up here over the weekend. Catch you guys next time. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Guys, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. Let's get up to 100 plus likes. And I'll catch you guys later.